fans, and welcome back to playoff edition of the Pioneers Weekly Football Preview. Playoffs. We're talking about playoffs. We've got 4 local teams that have punched their playoff tickets and are in action this weekend. Starting with Reed City at 9-0, third consecutive 9-0 regular season for the Coyotes. They take on a Clare team, 7-2 during the regular season. Let's get things started. Greg, starting with you, who you got winning this one and why?
Not to break trend, I think I'm going to have to take Reed City again. I think this, obviously, after dominating competition here in the CSAA through the regular season, I think this one will be a good test for them. But I think they're going to be coming out with at least a touchdown score to come out with a win.
Bob?
I will not go against my thinking of once on top, you always stay on top. Reed City will win this one, I think, easily.
Brandon, you picking the Coyotes as well?
I am picking the Coyotes this week. I think they continue on their unbeaten season and go into the playoffs. No.
Yeah, Monty Price not talking about that, possible rematch with Newaygo, getting that elusive district title that, they have fallen short of the last couple of years, but they start their run this week, and I think they win handily against Clare. Our next matchup we're going to be talking about is Chippewa Hills, who just punched their playoff ticket last weekend. They're going to be taking on a tall order when they travel to take on a 9-0 Cadillac team. Starting with you, Greg, Chippewa Hills kind of limping into the playoffs with some injuries. Do they have a chance this weekend?
They have a chance, but I just think Cadillac's got way too much firepower for them. Like you said, limping in there, Tyler Kelsey suffered a shoulder injury in their season finale there last week. He's probably not going to be able to go, and I think that just really limits them offensively with what they can do, and Cadillac's going to put points up on the board. So I think Cadillac's going to come out big in this one.
Bob, who you got winning this one?
Oh, I got Cadillac. I think, they got a lot of weapons. They got a lot of speed, something that Chip hasn't seen a lot of this year, and I think this is going to be a pretty easy win for the Vikings.
Brandon, Chippewa Hills grad, you got to be taking the Warriors in this one, I would imagine.
I'm going to hit the pass on that one and select Cadillac. Just 9-0 and just a dominant season for the Vikings.
Yeah, no offense to Chippewa Hills. Good season for them in kind of a transition year. Lost some quite a few seniors from last year, so quite an accomplishment to make the playoffs. I'd say they put up a fight against Cadillac, but like Bob said, too much firepower for the Vikings, and I think they move on. Our next matchup is Everett, who is going to a rematch of last year's first-round playoff matchup against Carson City Crystal. This season, Carson City comes in 9-0. Should be, they've had some common opponents. We've seen some similar scores. Greg, starting with you, who do you got winning this one?
Like you said, I think it's going to be a pretty evenly matched up game there. They both went against some tough competition, so I think Everett will be able to pull this one out with the offensive firepower they have on their side. I think it's going to be a close one, but I think they're going to edge them out just at the end there.
Bob, who you got this one?
I'm going with Carson City. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game, but I'm going with the home team. I like home teams, especially in the first rounds of playoffs.
Yeah. Brandon?
Carson City is 9-0 for a reason, and I'm going to select that.
Okay. I actually have Everett winning this one as well. I think they have the ability to get in those shootout type games with a passing attack that not a lot of teams see, and I think Carson City might have some difficulties with that. Like we said, some common opponents, and I think Everett stacks up well against them. Their only 2 losses of the season are against 2 of the top teams in the state. So I think that will prepare them for this contest, and I see them moving on. Our final playoff matchup that we're going to be talking about here is Baldwin, who also has a rematch this against Fowler, a team that has really been a power for the last few years in Division 8. Greg, starting with you, Baldwin, do they have a better showing this year against Fowler?
Yeah, like you said, last year they lost 42-0 to Fowler, and I think this year they're going to have a better showing. With Childress at QB, he's been putting up some monster numbers here, but that's been against the West Michigan D-League talents. So I think I still think Fowler's going to come out with this one, but I think Baldwin will put on a better showing than they did last year.
Bob, who you got in this one?
I'm going with the home team, but I'm with Greg. I think this is going to be a fun game, a close game, and fourth quarter is still being dealt, but I'm going to go with Fowler. Excuse me.
Brandon?
I think the entire Baldwin High School would have to be out there for Baldwin to take this one. So I'm going to go with Fowler, state perennial power. Yeah, I mean, that's an easy pick for me.
Yeah, as Kenny Mayne says, that would be cheating, though, so they cannot do that. Baldwin, I think, does put on a good show in this one. Brandon Childress, a lot like Andon Ware last year, and kind of carrying this team, but they have some other weapons. Daquan Fisher, I think they can put up some points on Fowler this year, but I do not see them coming out on top. Well, moving on to the college ranks, and obviously there's a pretty big in-state one this weekend, Michigan versus Michigan State. Guys, just give it to me straight. Who you got in this one, Greg?
After watching the Spartans defense last few weeks, I think I'm going to have to go with them because, Gardner's good for one bonehead play a game, and I think that's going to be the deciding factor in this one.
Bob, who you got in this one?
He almost took the words out of my mouth. Spartans, and I don't think it's close.
Okay.
I think it's a lot closer. They haven't seen someone like Devin Gardner, and he has the explosiveness to lead Michigan to a win. Go in there and upset them.
Yeah, I think this is a close game simply because I think people kind of forget how bad Michigan State's offense can be at times. And even Michigan's defense, which has not been good, they'll make them look good at times in this game. I do see Michigan State winning this one, though. Their defense way too dominant. Michigan, too turnover prone. I see Spartans by a touchdown in this one.
You're a traitor.
I've been called worse. But that's that's going to do it for this week's edition of the Pioneer Weekly Football Preview. We hope to see you again next week if any of our teams advance. Make sure to check out the weekend edition of the Pioneer or visit BigRapidsNews.com for all the results from this weekend's games.